The Lagos night was thick with humidity, wrapping the compound in a suffocating blanket of heat and silence. The once lively courtyard, where children once chased balls and women braided hair under the mango tree, now lay desolate, its silence broken only by the occasional wail of mourning or the hum of a distant generator. Empty flats stared like vacant eyes, their windows boarded up, as if the compound itself mourned its lost souls. Amoka moved through this ghost town with the grace of a queen, her beauty undimmed, though it now carried a chill that made neighbors avert their gazes. Chinedu, her husband, was a shadow of himself, his broad shoulders slumped, his eyes hollow from sleepless nights haunted by the deaths of neighbors, his sister Nkechi, and now the lingering suspicion about his wife. Adana's recent departure, after her betrayal, had left a crack in Amoka's carefully constructed facade, and the weight of her secret pressed harder than ever. Welcome to Zoe's Ancestral African Folktales, a place where ancient wisdom, magic, and storytelling come alive. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a tale from our ancestors. As the clock neared 11, Amoka sat in the dimly lit living room, the flicker of a kerosene lamp casting eerie shadows on the peeling walls. Chinedu had gone to bed early, his exhaustion from long hours at the mechanic shop compounded by the compound's tragedies. Amoka's fingers traced the edge of a clay bowl filled with her forbidden snake food, raw lizard flesh mixed with bitter cola and herbs that smelled of decay. She ate quickly, the taste sharp and metallic, fueling her for the transformation ahead. But before she could move, a chill ran through her, and the air thickened with an unnatural hum. Her eyes fluttered shut, and she was pulled into a trance, a spiritual realm where the physical world dissolved like mist over the Lagos lagoon. In this vision, the snake mother appeared, more vivid and terrifying than ever before. She was no mere shadow now but a towering figure, her upper body an ancient woman with skin like cracked earth, her lower half a riding serpent's tail, scales shimmering like emeralds in moonlight. Around her, in a forest clearing deep in the Nigerian bush, snakes slithered in a living carpet, their hisses blending into a chorus of menace. The snake mother's eyes glowed like twin coals, and her voice was a hiss that cut through Amoka's soul. "You falter, child," she said, her tail coiling around a gnarled tree. "The full moon is 2 weeks away, and the sacred ritual demands this land. Why do neighbors still live? Why does your husband grow bold with questions?" Amoka, trembling in her human form within the vision, knelt. "Mother, Chinedu watches me closely now, and Adana, she betrayed me," whispering to him. "The compound suspects juju." The snake mother slithered closer, her breath cold as a river at dawn. "Excuses weaken you. You were chosen for your strength, your beauty that blinds men and women alike. This compound sits on a nexus of power, where ancestor spirits converge with the earth's heart. Clear it, or the curse will claim you, no dawn will save you, only eternal scales and hunger." She revealed the cult's full plan. The land's spiritual energy would fuel a ritual to grant immortality to the cult's inner circle, transforming them into eternal snake beings, guardians of a new spiritual order. Each death Amoka caused fed the spirits, building an invisible shrine brick by brick. "Adana reported your softness for this, Chinedu," the mother hissed, her tail tightening briefly around Amoka's wrist, a warning. "Eliminate distractions, or I send others to finish you." The trance snapped like a broken thread, and Amoka awoke, gasping, the lamp nearly out. Her heart raced as midnight approached. The snake mother's threat echoed, she could not fail. Slipping from the chair, she moved silently to the bedroom, ensuring Chinedu slept deeply, thanks to the herbs in his evening tea. As the clock struck 12, her body rippled, limbs fusing, skin hardening into green scales. The mamba emerged, sleek and deadly, gliding out through a crack in the wall. Her target was a stubborn family of 5 who had hung charms from their door, beads and feathers blessed by a local babalawo. Undeterred, Amoka slipped through a loose window pane, finding their kitchen. She poisoned their pot of vegetable stew, her venom blending invisibly with the palm oil. By dawn, she was back, human again, lying beside Chinedu as if nothing had happened. Morning brought chaos. The family was found dead, their bodies cold, foam at their mouths. Malaria, the clinic declared, but whispers of witchcraft grew louder. The compound survivors, now barely a dozen, gathered under the mango tree, their faces drawn. "This is no ordinary sickness," Papa is, an elder, muttered. "We need more than prayers." Chinedu overheard, his suspicion sharpening. He had caught Amoka muttering about mothers and snakes in her sleep, her skin unnaturally cold at night. "What's wrong with you, Amoka?" he asked later, his voice low. She smiled, brushing his cheek. "The deaths weigh on me, my love. I'm just tired." But her eyes betrayed a flicker of fear. The snake mother's warning had lit a fire under her, but Chinedu's growing awareness threatened everything. The compound's pulse beat stronger, the ritual nearing, and Amoka knew she had to act faster, or risk losing all. Adana had been a sister in the snake cult, her own transformations into a black cobra making her a formidable ally in their dark work. But her time in Amoka's home had changed her. Chinedu's warmth, his laughter over shared plates of fufu, his stories of fixing cars under the blazing sun, his gentle touch when passing her a cup, had awakened a human longing she thought buried. She found herself brushing against him in the kitchen, laughing too loudly at his jokes, her heart betraying the cold loyalty of the cult. Amoka saw it all, her jealousy a cold serpent ready to strike. Focus on the mission, she snapped one evening as they washed dishes, the clatter of plates masking their tension. Adana's eyes glinted defiantly. "You're the one distracted, clinging to a man who'll never understand you." The betrayal began quietly, like a crack in a clay pot. Adana started dropping hints to Chinedu, testing his trust. One evening, as they sat on the veranda, the air thick with the scent of burning charcoal from a neighbor's grill, she leaned close. "Chinedu, you're a good man. But danger lives closer than you think. Watch for signs, cold hands, strange foods, midnight walks." Chinedu frowned, his brow creasing. "You mean Amoka? She's my wife." Adana's hand lingered on his arm. "Sometimes love blinds us. Just be careful." Her words were seeds, sinking deep into his already troubled mind. Amoka sensed the shift. In a trance that night, she reported to the snake mother, the forest shrine appearing vivid in her mind, snakes hissing in rhythm with the wind. "Adana betrays me, mother. She wants Chinedu and whispers against me." The snake mother's tail lashed. "Deal with her, but do not falter in your task." Driven by rage, Amoka acted swiftly. That night, she transformed and struck 2 neighbors, a young couple who had questioned her at the last meeting. She beat them in their sleep, venom mimicking a heart attack. By morning, their deaths were blamed on bad medicine, the compound's fear now a palpable fog. Adana's betrayal deepened the next day. Alone with Chinedu while Amoka was at the market, she spoke plainly. Your wife has village secrets, dark powers tied to snakes. The deaths aren't natural. She's involved. Chinedu recoiled, his love warring with doubt. You're lying to break us. But Adana's eyes were earnest. Check her at night. You'll see. That evening, Amoka caught them talking, Adana's hand on his shoulder. Rage exploded. In the backyard, away from neighbors, she confronted her. You dare turn him against me? Adana smirked. You're weak, Amoka. Loving a mortal makes you soft. I'll finish the mission and take him. The fight was brief but fierce. Amoka grabbed Adana's wrist, her nails lengthening into claws as partial transformation took hold. Adana hissed, her own scales flickering, but Amoka was stronger, slamming her against the wall. Leave, or you're next. Adana fled that night, vowing to return with the cult's wrath. Chinedu, unaware, asked Amoka why she left. Family troubles, Amoka lied, her heart pounding. That night, she killed another neighbor, a widow who prayed too loudly, her venom disguised as a stroke. Chinedu's suspicion grew. He followed her the next night, seeing her slip out but missing the transformation. Adana's words echoed, dark powers. The compound had only 10 left, the land's energy vibrating with each death. Amoka ate more snake food, live toads and bitter leaves, to counter her weakening power, but Adana's betrayal had cracked her world. The snake mother's voice warned, traitors fall, but your husband is the greater threat. Amoka's love for Chinedu clashed with her duty, and the unraveling quickened. Chinedu could no longer ignore the whispers in his mind, Adana's warnings, Amoka's cold touch, the scales he found under their bed. The compound's death toll, now over 20, pushed him to act. One dawn, as Amoka slept off her nightly transformation, he slipped out, hailing an Okoda to a dusty road near Bedigri, where Boba Ogun, a renowned Dibia, lived in a hut adorned with cowrie shells, palm fronds, and bones. The air smelled of herbs and smoke, and the hum of spiritual energy made Chinedu's skin prickle. Boba Ogun was ancient, his face a map of wrinkles, but his eyes gleamed with wisdom. He sat on a woven mat, surrounded by jars of potions and a shrine to Oromola, god of divination. Speak, son, he said, tossing cowries. Chinedu poured out his fears, the deaths, Amoka's midnight absences, Adana's hints of dark powers. The Dibia chanted, smoke rising from burning incense, and consulted the spirits. A serpent walks your home, he declared. Your wife is bound to a snake cult, old as the forest. She transforms under the moon, killing to claim this land for their shrine. He explained the cult's history. Born in colonial times, they sought sacred sites to harness spiritual power, using initiates like Amoka as weapons. Chinedu's heart sank, love battled horror. Can she be saved? Boba Ogun crafted a charm, a necklace of beads, herbs, and a neutralized snake form. Wear this, it repels her form. To break the curse, trap her as snake passed on, she'll be human again, but the cult's hold may snap. He warned, act fast, or you join the ancestors. Chinedu tucked the charm under his shirt, its weight a reminder of his task. Back home, Amoka greeted him with pounded yam, her smile warm but her eyes wary. That night, she transformed, targeting a vigilante who patrolled with a torch. The charm on Chinedu, who stayed awake, warmed against his chest as she passed nearby, a sign of her evil. Morning brought the vigilante's death, blamed on bad gin, and the compound's panic spiked. Chinedu joined their meeting, hinting at a shapeshifter without naming Amoka. The neighbors, steeped in Yoruba tales of war snakes, nodded grimly, planning a vigil with Dibias. Amoka sensed the charm's power, her trances warning of danger. She ate more snake food, raw eggs, bitter cola, to bolster herself, but the snake mother's voice grew colder. Your husband conspires. End him, or I will. Chinedu's shrine visit had armed him, but love made him hesitate, torn between saving Amoka and stopping her. Amoka's instinct screamed betrayal. Chinedu's furtive glances, his new necklace, she knew he sought answers. To protect her mission, she crafted a trap, using Adana's return as bait. Feigning reconciliation, she sent a message through a cult intermediary, "Come back, sister. We must unite." Adana, still bound to the cult despite her feelings for Chinedu, returned, wary but obedient. Amoka welcomed her with tea, laced with slow-acting venom from her own fangs, brewed with herbs to mask the taste. As they sat in the living room, the air heavy with unspoken threats, Amoka accused, "You turned Chinedu against me." Adana sipped, denying weakly, "I only warned him to save him." The venom took hold, Adana convulsed, collapsing. Amoka transformed briefly, biting her fully to ensure death, the venom mimicking a fever. Chinedu, awakened by the commotion, rushed in. "Adana." Amoka sobbed, "She came to attack me, poisoned herself in guilt." The police, called by neighbors, ruled it suicide, but Chinedu saw Amoka's cold eyes. That night, she struck two more, a couple who had questioned her deaths disguised as food poisoning. The trap worked, Adana was gone, suspicion deflected. But Chinedu's charm glowed when Amoka neared, repelling her snake form. He confronted her, "What are you hiding?" She pleaded illness, love, but his trust cracked. The compound had 8 left, the land's energy pulsing. Amoka's desperation grew, the snake mother warned, "Finish, or face us." The compound in Ikeja had become a fortress of fear, its once lively courtyard now a barren expanse where dust swirled under the relentless Lagos sun. The remaining 8 neighbors, widows clutching rosaries, elders with weary eyes, and young men gripping sticks, gathered under the gnarled mango tree, their faces etched with a mix of dread and defiance. The air was thick with the scent of burning charcoal from a nearby grill and the faint tang of incense from a recent prayer session. Papa is, a grizzled trader who had survived the Biafran War and now carried the weight of the compound's tragedies, stood tall, his voice hoarse but commanding. "No more deaths," he declared, pounding his fist into his palm. "We've buried too many friends, children, families. This is no natural sickness. It's evil, and we will fight it." The group nodded, their resolve hardened by the mounting body count, over 20 now, each death cloaked in false causes like malaria, stroke, or bad food. Whispers of witchcraft had grown into shouts, fueled by Yoruba tales of shapeshifters and spirits that haunted the night. A young widow, Mama turned, clutched her toddler tightly, her voice trembling. "My husband died after eating stew. The doctor said heart failure, but he was strong. Something moves in the dark." Others shared similar stories, pots tainted, water jars cursed, loved ones gone without reason. Chinedu, standing at the edge of the circle, his heart heavy with Baba Ogun's revelations, spoke up cautiously. "I've heard it could be a shapeshifter. A serpent among us." Gasps rippled through the group, eyes darting nervously. In their culture, stories of humans turning into snakes were not mere folklore but warnings passed down from ancestors. They devised a plan, not just another prayer vigil but a battle against the unseen. "Papa is called for action. We'll guard the compound tonight, every corner, every door. No one sleeps." They enlisted 2 Dibias from nearby Alemosho, known for their prowess against spiritual evils. The Dibias arrived at dusk, their bags clinking with charms, cowrie shells, eagle feathers, and small gourds filled with potent herbs. They sprinkled holy water mixed with alligator pepper around the compound, chanting in Yoruba to invoke Ogun, the god of war, and Eshu, the trickster who guards crossroads. "Whatever works tonight, we'll see it," one Dibia promised, his eyes scanning the shadows. Amoka attended the meeting, her beauty a stark contrast to the grim mood. She nodded solemnly, offering to bring food for the vigil, pounded yam and egusi stew, a gesture to deflect suspicion. "We must stand together," she said, her voice soft as a lullaby, but her heart raced. Inside, she cursed their defiance. The snake mother's deadline loomed, the full moon only days away. The land's spiritual energy paused beneath her feet, a drumbeat urging her to finish the mission. As the meeting ended, she slipped away, plotting sabotage. If the vigil succeeded, her secret could unravel, and the cult's shrine would remain unbuilt. That night, the compound buzzed with preparation. Lanterns were lit, casting flickering light across the cracked walls. Men armed with sticks and machetes took shifts, patrolling in pairs. Women prayed, their voices rising in a blend of Christian hymns and Yoruba incantations, calling on ancestors and angels alike. Chinedu, wearing Baba Ogun's charm, joined the patrol, his eyes sharp for any sign of Amoka. She had retired early, claiming a headache, but he no longer trusted her smiles. The Dibia set up a small altar in the courtyard, burning herbs that filled the air with a sharp, cleansing scent. They hung charms, beads and claws on every door and window, designed to repel spiritual intruders. As midnight approached, Amoka felt the familiar tingle of transformation. She waited until Chinedu left for his patrol, then slipped into the backyard, where she ate a hurried meal of raw toads and bitter leaves to fuel her power. Transforming into the green mamba, she slithered toward the communal kitchen, where the vigil's food was stored. Her plan was simple: poison the stew, let the deaths be blamed on bad palm oil, and scatter the vigil's unity. But as she called around the pot, a young boy, Toby, patrolling with his father, spotted her shadow against the wall. "Snake," he screamed, his voice piercing the night's chants. Chaos erupted. Torches flared, men shouted, and footsteps thundered. Amoka darted under a table, her scales glinting briefly in the light. Papa swung a machete, narrowly missing her. She fled through a crack in the wall, heart pounding, not from fear of death, but of exposure. If caught past dawn, the curse would trap her as a snake forever. The vigil continued, now frenzied, with Dibias chanting louder, sprinkling more holy water. Amoka escaped to her room, transforming back just as Chinedu returned, his face grim. "Something moved out there," he said, eyeing her. She feigned sleepiness. "I heard the noise. Is everyone safe?" Her innocence was flawless, but the community's plan had strengthened them. They vowed to keep watch every night, their unity a wall against her. Amoka's mission tittered, and the snake mother's warning echoed, finish, or fall. The second night of the video crackled with tension, like the air before a Lagos thunderstorm. The compound was a fortress of light and sound, lanterns blazed, casting long shadows, while the Dibias chants to Ogun, Shango, and Jesus wove a protective net. Women sang, their voices a blend of hope and fear, clutching charms and Bibles. Men patrolled with machetes, torches, and newfound courage, their eyes scanning every corner. The compound survivors, now 7, after another death blamed on a bad water, were united in their stand against the unseen killer. Chinedu, his charm necklace warm against his chest, walked the perimeter, his heart a battlefield of love for Amoka and fear of what she might be. Baba Ogun's words haunted him, trap her passed on to break the curse. Amoka, in their small flat, felt the weight of the vigil like a noose tightening. The snake mother's latest vision had been merciless. Your husband conspires with Dibias. End him, or I will. She couldn't kill Chinedu, not yet. Her love for him, though buried under layers of duty and curse, flickered like a stubborn flame. But the mission demanded blood, and the remaining neighbors were her final obstacles. As midnight struck, she slipped into the backyard, eating her snake food, raw eggs and venomous herbs, to bolster her weakening power. The transformations were taxing her skin felt tight, her bones ached, and the cult's energy waned with each close call. Transforming into the Green Mamba, she slithered toward the flat of Mama Eo, an elderly woman who led the prayers with fervor. Mama Eo's room was heavy with the scent of camphor and holy water, her walls plastered with crosses and charms. Amoka planned to bite her in sleep, leaving a false symptom of stroke. But as she coiled near the bed, Chinedu, on patrol nearby, caught a glint of green scales in his torchlight. "Snake," he shouted, his voice cutting through the chants. The compound erupted, men ran, women screamed, and the Dibias raised their staffs, chanting louder. Amoka darted under the bed, but Toby, the boy from the previous night, was with his father again. His sharp eyes caught her movement, and he screamed, "It's there," pointing at the shadow. Papa Is and 2 others joined Chinedu, their machetes gleaming. Amoka fled, slithering through the room's open window, but the chase was relentless. Torches lit the courtyard, voices shouting in Yoruba and Pidgin. "Catch 'em! Not the evil!" She weaved through the grass, her heart pounding, not just from the chase, but from the charm's power. When she lunged toward Chinedu in desperation, the necklace blazed, burning her scales like hot coals. She hissed in pain, retreating. The community cornered her near the compound's gate, nets ready from the Dibia's instructions. But Amoka slipped through a drainage hole, her agility saving her. She raced home, transforming back in the bedroom just as Chinedu burst in, his face a mask of horror. "I saw you, Amoka." "It was you," he roared, the charm glowing faintly. She wept, falling to her knees. "You're mad, my love. I was here, sleeping." But his eyes burned with certainty. "The Dibia told me, a snake witch." "How could you?" The confrontation hung in the air, tears streaming down her face, his love cracking under the weight of truth. Neighbors pounded the door, shouting accusations. "She's the one. The killer." Amoka's pleas drowned in their anger, but Chinedu held them back. "Not yet," he said, torn between love and justice. The night ended in a tense stalemate, the community on high alert, Amoka's secret teetering on exposure. She lay awake, knowing the next night could be her last. Chinedu no longer slept without the charm, its beaded weight a constant reminder of Baba Ogan's warning. The necklace, woven with herbs and a snake form purified by ancient rites, pulsed with spiritual energy, warming whenever Amoka's snake form drew near. After the midnight confrontation, he moved to the living room, sleeping on a mat, his machete by his side. Love for Amoka lingered, but fear and betrayal now ruled. The compound buzzed with whispers, neighbors avoided their flat, some spitting as they passed, convinced Amoka was the cause's source. Yet no one dared confront her directly, her beauty still held a strange power, and fear of her wrath kept them at bay. Amoka felt the shift, her world shrinking. The snake mother's visions grew sparse, her voice cold, "You weaken, child. The charm disrupts our bond." Transformations were harder now, her body resisted, scales forming unevenly, pain lancing through her limbs. She ate more snake food, live frogs, bitter cola, and herbs steeped in snake venom hidden in the backyard under moonlight. But even that barely sustained her. The cult's energy, tied to her kills, was fading as the community's resistance grew. That night, driven by desperation, Amoka decided to eliminate Chinedu. If he exposed her, the mission failed, and the snake mother would doom her to eternal serpentine form. She waited until the video's patrols thinned, the Dibias resting by their altar. Slipping into the living room, she transformed, her green mamba form coiling silently toward Chinedu's mat. Her fangs glistened, ready to strike his neck, a death to be disguised as heart failure. But as she lunged, the charm blazed, its light searing her scales like fire. She hissed, writhing in agony, her form flickering, half snake, half human, a grotesque hybrid. Chinedu awoke, machete in hand. "Leave, demon," he shouted, the charm glowing brighter. Amoka, forced back to human form, collapsed, sobbing. "It's a curse, Chinedu. I didn't choose this, I was forced." Her tears were real, born of love and fear, but his trust was shattered. "You've killed our neighbors, my sister," he roared, tears in his own eyes. Neighbors, alerted by the noise, gathered outside, banging on the door. "Bring her out. The witch." Papa Isa's voice led the chorus. Amoka fled through the back window as a snake, the charm's power chasing her like a hunter. She hid in the bushes, transforming back, her body trembling. Morning came, and Chinedu faced the community, his voice breaking. "I saw her turn. She's the snake." But he refused to let them storm the house, still clinging to a shred of love. Amoka, back inside, knew her time was short. The charm's power had exposed her, weakening her bond to the cult. She needed a new plan, one to save herself and finish the mission before Chinedu or the Dibias trapped her. Amoka's world was crumbling. The charm's power, the community's vigilance, and the snake mother's fading support pushed her to the edge. Her transformations were erratic now, scales lingered on her arms hours after dawn, her eyes slitted even in daylight. She ate voraciously, live toads, raw eggs, herbs soaked in venom, hiding in the backyard, her hands shaking as she stuffed the forbidden food into her mouth. But the energy barely held, each kill drained her more, the cult's spiritual link fraying like a worn rope. In desperation, she struck wildly. That night, she transformed and killed 5 neighbors in a frenzy, 2 widows, a young man, an elder, and a child, biting them in their sleep, her venom leaving 4 symptoms of cancer, stroke, and fever. The deaths were sloppy. She nearly stayed snake past dawn, her body flickering as she dragged herself home. The snake mother appeared in a brief vision, her voice a venomous whisper, weakling. You falter when victory is near. Finish the last, or I abandon you to the curse. Morning brought chaos. The compound, now down to 3 survivors besides Chinedu, erupted in wails. Bodies were found, each with a different cause: tumors, seizures, infections. The Dibias, summoned urgently, declared, "This is no ordinary evil. The snake is desperate." They doubled their charms, sprinkling salt and ash around the remaining flats, chanting to bind the spirit. Neighbors fled to relatives, leaving only Papa Is, Mama Tond, and a young man named Kemi, who vowed to fight. Chinedu confronted Amoka in their room, holding up a scale he found on the floor. "You're killing us all." "Why?" His voice broke, torn between love and horror. Amoka fell to her knees, tears streaming. "I love you, Chinedu. It's a curse. I was trapped in my village, forced to serve them." She spoke of the cult, the snake mother, the shrine, but not the full truth, her mission to clear the land. He shook his head, the charm glowing. "You chose this. You killed Nkechi, my sister." She begged, "Help me break it. I can't stop alone." But his eyes were hard. He locked the door, vowing to watch her. Amoka's desperation peaked. She planned to kill Chinedu, the last obstacle, but her heart rebelled. Instead, she targeted Papa Is that night, but the Dibia's charm slowed her, her transformation incomplete. She returned, exhausted, knowing time was running out. The community's strength and the charm's power pushed her to the brink, her love for Chinedu her only tether. Chinedu's heart was a storm of grief and resolve. He couldn't face Amoka without seeing blood, Nkechi's, the neighbors, the compounds. Sleeping out at dawn, he rode an Okada to Boba Ogan's hut, the dusty road blurring as tears stung his eyes. The Dibia sat by his shrine, smoke curling from a fire pit, his eyes narrowing as Chinedu approached. "You've seen her truth," he said, tossing cowries without waiting for words. Chinedu recounted the confrontation, the scales, the charm's power. Boba Ogan performed a ritual, slaughtering a chicken, its blood dripping onto a clay altar, chanting to Oromala and Oya. Smoke formed visions, a young Amoka in a village grove, initiated into the snake cult with bites and potions, the snake mother commanding her to clear the compound for a shrine to harness its sacred energy. "She's bound by blood," the Dibia said. "Her kills feed their immortality ritual. But love weakens her, she fights for you." Chinedu wept. "Can she be saved?" Boba Ogan nodded. "Trap her as snake passed on. The curse breaks if she cannot transform back, but beware, the cult will fight." He gave Chinedu a god of powder to weaken her power and a net blessed with incantations. "You must act with the community, or she'll kill you all." Returning home, Chinedu hid the god, his heart torn. Amoka greeted him with stew, her eyes pleading. "Where were you?" He lied, "The shop." But the charm glowed, and she flinched. The Dibia's revelation armed him, but love made him hesitate. He vowed to trap her, to save her soul if possible, but the community's cries for justice grew louder. Chinedu rallied the 3 remaining neighbors, Papa Is, Mama Tond, Kemi in the courtyard, the Dibias by their side. "It's Amoka," he admitted, his voice breaking. "She turns into a snake, killing for a cult. We must trap her tonight, past dawn, to break her curse." Gasps met his words, but the Dibias nodded, their charms ready. They planned meticulously, nets blessed with holy water, torches to light every corner, powder to weaken her transformation. The vigil would be their battlefield. Amoka sensed the trap, her trances warning of betrayal. She ate her snake food frantically, but her power flickered. At midnight, she transformed, slithering out to kill Papa Is. But the Dibia's chant slowed her, and Chinedu's net caught her near the gate. "Hold her," he shouted, tears falling. They pinned her, the charm burning her scales. As dawn broke, she writhed, hissing, unable to transform. The community watched, horrified, as the sun rose. Was the curse broken? Or did the cult have one final move? The stage was set for the final reckoning. Thanks for watching Zoe's Ancestral African Folktales, where the wisdom of our ancestors lives on. If you enjoyed this story, drop a like, leave a comment with your favorite part, and share it with someone who loves great tales. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next journey into African folklore.